Coast Wrestling Report alongside no one. I am your host, J-Man. My usual partner for these reviews. Lately, Ryan was unable to make it for this review. Should be back, obviously, for the next upcoming videos, as with all the other guys, too. But I'm going to go ahead and run down my 2011 TNA Final Resolution review for you. TNA's final pay-per-view of the year, really one of, definitely, if not the worst, probably, year for TNA overall. Their pay-per-views really struggled this year, and hopefully moving on next year to 2012 with Genesis starting out, we can start to really get on track with this company because, quite frankly, the talent that is on this roster, it should not have this outcome. It really just seems as though TNA is just running through the paces here and just getting done what they need to get done with these pay-per-views, and it does not have a feel of a special type thing. It just seems like an extended Impact, and it really doesn't feel like it has that, that feel of, this is something special. This is going to be their pay-per-view. This is going to be what culmination of, the feuds that have been going on, this kind of stuff, like it should be, and it really has not had that feel this year. You could say it's this, you could say it's that, but the end product, it's not delivering right now. So hopefully get that turned around in the year 2012. We're going to run down the card for you. The first matchup, we have the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels going up against Rob Van Dam. Really nothing too special here. Starting out the card, had their no DQ match at the last pay-per-view and having this straight up. Nothing really going on here. Not that long of a matchup. RVD getting another unneeded win over Christopher Daniels. I don't know how many times I have to say that you need to get behind a guy that makes sense, and a guy that makes sense to get behind is Christopher Daniels. He's that original guy, like we've been saying. He's that guy that has not had the focus on him seemingly at all in a long time in TNA, and it would just make so much sense, and especially when there's absolutely nothing going on with Rob Van Dam right now. Just nothing behind these wins, nothing of need to do with anything with Rob Van Dam. Just another useless win here for RVD, and just continuing to fall down with Christopher Daniels. And as we've said in the past, just the feeling of the use of the originals and the the overall just crapping that they're doing on all these guys is just going on for far too long, and we've beat it like a dead horse, but it's the God's honest truth. But RVD getting a win there, not really too special of a match. Next matchup, we had the television title on the line when champion Robbie went up against former champion Eric Young. This was, quite frankly, really, really bad. Just with the Rob Terry, involvement, with just the overall just douchiness feel that you get from Robbie E's matches. Eric Young playing that comedic, role in TNA, which is funny and just has its purpose in TNA, but just nothing special here. Just felt like another Impact match. Robbie E retaining the television championship with a whole bunch of shenanigans at the end, and just nothing special here. Moving on now to the TNA Tag Titles. Champions Matt Morgan and Crimson going up against D'Angelo Dinero and Devon. This actually was, I wouldn't say great, or when you say good, definitely wouldn't say great, but it wasn't, anything special. But this one, served a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. It was definitely better than I thought it was going to be. With Devon actually looking pretty good. Pope and Crimson getting in there, really doing some, quality work together. It looked like they had some pretty good chemistry. And Crimson continuing to progress and putting him in there with Matt Morgan could be something interesting there. Matt Morgan and Crimson getting the win, continuing this stuff that just does not need to be continued with, Pope and Devon and all this stuff, the crap with Devon's kids. Just, it's going nowhere, TNA, and it will continue to go nowhere, and you'll continue to do it, and no one will continue to give a shit, and you keep doing it. It's just, in that stuff, do something productive with Pope, because he's an amazing talent. Continuing the run with Matt Morgan and Crimson, it'll be interesting to see, how they continue, if they start to gain some chemistry or what they'll do there. But Matt Morgan and Crimson retaining the TNA Tag Titles in this matchup. We go now to the X Division champion, the champion A-Double Austin Aries going up against Kid Kash. This was a pretty good match, really playing off that heel-heel dynamic and almost to a point of who could out-heel, one another in this matchup. Playing the poke in the eyes and the roll-ups with the arms on the ropes, and going towards the end with the brass knuckles with both the guys, and throwing the belt with Austin Aries and having him at the Brainbuster and retain the X Division Championship. Some pretty quality work out of these guys. As I said in the preview, just Kid Kash does not need to be on a pay-per-view with TNA, but he actually, did, bring his game tonight, and, Austin Aries, as, we've said over and over again, he's an amazing talent and will continue to run this X Division. As we said, it's the A-Double division right now, with the champion that he is right now, and some good stuff out of this one. Not, anything special, but X Division champion Austin Aries retaining the championship in this matchup and moving on, hopefully some bigger and better things. Next matchup, we had Knockouts Championship on the line when champion Gail Kim went up against Mickie James. This was a pretty quality Knockouts match here, especially up to what we've seen in the past out of the Knockouts Championship in the last couple months. Gail Kim winning the Knockouts Championship in Velvet Sky at the last pay-per-view, and having this run that I knew would be great stuff with Gail Kim. If you have Gail Kim in there in these matches on a pay-per-view, she is going to deliver people because she's just an amazing athlete. And you could tell when it is a ditzy girl in there and when it's a women's wrestler in there, and these girls were in there and they're women's wrestlers. It's not something where it's going to be these little fluffy little shit like that. It's going to be them in there and really putting on some work and really getting in there and doing some quality stuff. And this was a pretty good match. Didn't get a ton of time, but it served its purpose. Gail Kim retaining the championship. Had some pretty nasty bumps in this match with Gail Kim, flying to the outside of the ring, hitting her, looks like hitting her side of her ribs kind of on the steel steps there. But yeah, it was a pretty quality match here. Gail Kim retaining the Knockouts Championship and hopefully moving on to some more interesting stuff. We'd like to actually see Mickie continue her run with Gail Kim and maybe see a feud out of this. Moving on now to the match between Kurt Angle and James Storm. This is a pretty quality match here. James Storm really showing that he could go in there with a guy like Kurt Angle and can wrestle. As I said, James Storm never really getting his due of being a quality singles wrestler, and finally with this run that he has, and getting in there with a Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle's going to make you wrestle your ass off, and he's not going to let you kind of ditzy around and do whatever the hell you want. Right when they got in there, they were right to the mat, and it was some really quality stuff, and James Storm really proved that he could be in there with a guy like Kurt Angle. This is a pretty quality match. James Storm getting the last call super kick at the end when Kurt Angle was really just dominating throughout, and getting the win here. I love to see James Storm go over. It's a good thing, and hopefully, as we said, lead towards that final place with them finally doing the feud with Bobby Roode and James Storm in the end, which should be some great stuff. Moving on now to the steel cage match between Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. Of course, all the stipulations on this. If Jeff Hardy wins, he gets a TNA title shot, and Jeff Jarrett or Karen Jarrett would be fired. And then also, if Jeff Jarrett wins this match, Hardy would be gone from TNA, and Karen Jarrett would be handcuffed to Sting at ringside. As going into this, I was really predicting it to be just a shenanigans-loaded just booking fest in this matchup, and it really didn't get that much time and really wasn't that quality of a match. Putting the steel cage stipulation on it really didn't even feel like it was needed. It just kind of felt like they were just forcing this to just get the title shot to Jeff Hardy, and they'd finally give it to him, and finding out that either Jeff or Karen would be fired on Impact this coming week, whatever's going on here. Obviously, Jeff Jarrett's going to need to be filtering out sometime. It is obviously his time to be starting to not be needing that role as a full-time wrestler. But this is not really too quality of a match here. Jeff Jarrett or Jeff Hardy coming in has, I wouldn't say impressed by any means, but has at least showed up to, be there. He's not out of his mind. He's not whacked out on drugs. He's not doing this or that. He's showing up and he wants to get back in his company. And I do appreciate the fact that he wants to, try again. But I mean, how many times can you get this opportunity, and how many times can we just continuously see Jeff Hardy pushed in TNA? It's just what we're going to get yet again. I believe getting his title opportunity at next month pay-per-view Genesis against Bobby Roode. Who knows what that'll go down with, but Jeff Hardy getting another TNA title opportunity and winning this steel cage match against Jeff Jarrett will be interesting to see what happens on Impact. Obviously, Sting saying one of them will be fired, and who knows what will be going on those Impacts. Moving on now to the main event for the 30-minute Iron Man match for the TNA World Title between champion Bobby Roode and the phenomenal AJ Styles. This was a really, really good matchup here. Really, I would say probably the best storytelling in a TNA match this year. Selling, just to the up degree, the storytelling was just outstanding in this matchup. AJ Styles selling that, knee injury coming in, and they were playing off that. AJ ending up injuring, or going after Bobby Roode's shoulder and, playing this off. They had a great little spot in the middle of this matchup to where they're kind of going back and forth with both hitting their, their injured parts and all this kind of stuff like that. And just really great stuff. These guys have great chemistry. Obviously, you throw these two amazing performers in there for 30 minutes, you're going to get some quality stuff, and that's exactly what we got out of this. Had some pinfalls early, had some submissions early, Bobby Roode just showing, as of late, as we've known, he is a great, technical wrestler, but as of late, as this run that he's gotten as a world champion, he's just showing that he is just an amazing technician in the ring, and, working on AJ's leg and all the leg work that he did there, just the heel-face dynamics here, the storytelling was just outstanding. This was a really good matchup. Bobby Roode and AJ Styles going to a 3-3 draw here, and Bobby Roode running away from AJ at the end of this last about minute or so. And, saying, it's a draw, I'm still champion, I'm going to get out of here with the championship, and, you in turn basically lose, AJ. You don't get, another 5-minute period like all the fans were saying, as, people would probably think they say. And obviously, this being called by Ryan on the show on the preview, I did believe this would probably go down as well, but good call to you, Ryan. There you go, buddy. But Bobby Roode still remaining the TNA World Heavyweight Champion in a really great matchup here. Overall, this pay-per-view was okay, nothing really special out of it. Like I said, just kind of TNA running through the paces and just kind of, hammering on a pay-per-view. Here you go, it's a pay-per-view. Here you go, it's a pay-per-view. And just nothing really special. I really don't think TNA believes that we pay for these things. We don't, invest into this to where we want to see something special. We don't want to see the same, thing that we see on a weekly show. We want to see something special out of this. And, the main event was a special match, but just kind of, when you get those highlighted matches that TNA highlights, these, 3 matches are going to be the special part of this, when, just one of those out of the 3 is special and everything on the undercard is just blah. It's nothing, interesting at all. It really suffers, and the whole overall pay-per-view feel just kind of, just goes down, and it doesn't feel as though it's special at all. But hopefully they could turn this around, because as I said, TNA, I just want to have that feeling of the past of having it be the alternative of, the mainstream type thing that it is, but it just hasn't. It just feels like a watered down version of something that is mainstream, and it doesn't feel authentic. It feels forced, it feels fake, and we need it to feel like that authentic TNA that we used to love, and that all these amazing talents that are part of this roster that can flourish in this, and it hasn't felt like that at all. But hopefully we get that feel maybe in 2012 coming with Genesis. Should be interesting to see what happens there. That'll now wrap up 2011 TNA Final Resolution review. I'm your host, J-Man. Thank you for watching another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report, your source for wrestling news, information, opinions, instantly.
This is a battle